Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Quarter Life Confessions. I'm Ansh.
And I'm Mahika, and we're your hosts.
We're two 20-something-year-olds with a bunch of opinions and feel the need to get them out there in the world, and that is why we started this podcast.
Hell yeah. So let's start it off. What's your opinion?
Okay, I don't like being called buddy or
Oh,
bud from another guy because I just think it is a bit condescending when they do that. And I think there's nuance to this, and I want to add that nuance. I
yes.
think guys try to play status games when they call you buddy or bud, and when they
Right.
see somebody, when they see another guy who's doing better than them or who's better than them at the thing that they want to be good at, they will sometimes try to downplay you or put you in your place, quote unquote, put you in your place by calling you bud or buddy. And buddy grinds my gears because I'm like, first of all, we're not buddies. You're just getting to know me. We're not buddies. And I can feel that condescension coming off of you, and it just kind of irks me.
Right. Valid. Thank you for sharing that. He came in full force with that take. Do you also think that it's because it feigns friendship and tries to put you guys at the same level, even though they've never cared to ask you and actually listen to any of your opinions and any of your life story, that they are not your friend? And so then that feigned friendship just makes everything feel fake?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it also, I don't know, it's a bit transactional, I think, because you haven't, like you said, tried to even get to know me. And now you're trying to
Exactly.
be my friend because you want to be in my good books, but you're also trying to show me my place by
Right.
sort of telling me that, like, listen, like, I know you're good, but like, don't think that you're better than me, which I'm like, I'm not even trying to be better than you. I'm just trying to be myself. So
Right.
it's interesting that you feel threatened.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe this is just all in my head, and I'm just crazy and I feel these things when other people are just like, oh, dude, I'm just calling you a buddy because like that's a friendly thing to do.
Right. Have you ever called anyone buddy?
I try not to. Uh, I've called my younger brother buddy because like he is my buddy and I don't feel like there's any sort of condescension there, but I don't call people buddy, like not really, no.
Right. Have you buddied someone back in response to their buddy?
Um, Not really, because I'm like, I'm not gonna play this game that you're trying to play with me
Right.
subconsciously. Like, I'm not into this, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna fall for it either.
Yeah. And I think we need to go back to you saying maybe it's all in my head, because I think it depends on the situation where the buddy is condescending, because it's the same thing as women calling each other honey or sweetie, and
Mm,
it's just like condescending in a bitchy manner essentially.
mm,
And you know when it's meant in that way. So
mm.
I don't necessarily think it's all in your head, simply because there are people who do this, and I'm sure
Right?
you've come across them.
Have you come across
Especially,
that
yeah,
with women?
yes,
Okay, say more.
yes. I think it's very interesting too, even when you see within movie culture and everything. As soon as I think of that condescension, I think of a woman talking to another woman because her man looked at that woman. Like,
Mm,
back off, honey, that's my man. That type of thing.
mm.
Again, condescension, status games of this is mine, that type of thing.
Yeah,
You
that
see the
thing.
parallels?
That's. What's your opinion on? Okay, so women obviously have it hard in our world. Like, I think it's a known fact that men are more privileged than women in
Yeah,
many aspects of life, and
yeah.
women go through more pain or more struggle to climb up the socioeconomic ladder or a career ladder, very various ladders. What's your opinion on women bringing other women down,
Oh, stop, I knew
like
it.
like diligently and intentionally? Why
Right.
are they doing that?
I don't think that I'm in a position to answer the why, especially because as a woman, as a human being, I have never thought to bring another human being down. Period. I think it's very interesting when the nuance of being a woman comes into place and how many times in history and even daily life we see other women bringing women down. And I think a huge reason for that is the fact that we're constantly pit against each other.
Yeah.
Who's prettier, who's thinner, who's better with guys, who dresses better. I think there's all of these, it's like a Snow White effect, right? Like mirror,
Hmm.
mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? It's comparison. And that's also an interesting take on scarcity and abundance is that when women are pit against each other, they're also told, hey, there are limited things of this thing that you're striving towards that this other woman is also striving towards. The
Hmm.
men are already in a different league because the patriarchy helps push them, and that's a whole system that's well oiled for them, which is falling now as well because the patriarchy harms both men and women. But I think because women are pit against other women, they feel the need that, hey, this is the scarce object that both of us want. How am I gonna get there? And then starts the cycle of putting each other down.
Yeah, it makes sense because I just think that it's not a women or men only thing, it's just a human thing.
Exactly.
And I just want to also comment on what I said about women being having more privileges than men. I think that probably like irked a few men listening to us.
You
And
mean
yes,
you mean the opposite, men having more privileges than
oh sorry,
women.
sorry, men having more
Yes.
privileges than
It's
women.
okay,
My
you're
bad.
good. Yes.
Yeah. Uh, but then, do you think there are certain areas of life where women have more privileges than men?
Yes.
And what are they?
Um, think in the dating pool or
Mm,
even within pretty privilege. I feel like women get a lot of pretty privilege. Even like within that, I think it's unfortunately a subsection for being, pretty in a, what is it? Wait, one second.
conventional manner.
Conventional manner. Exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. I was like, confessional? No.
That's the name of our podcast.
That's exactly. I think definitely in terms of pretty privilege, in the sense that women can sweet talk people, and
Mm,
that's just, that's a personal experience for me as well. Like, if we both walk into a room, people smile more at me,
mm. Yeah,
and
yeah,
if we
I
both
know.
walk in a room, and it's happened,
Yeah,
and sure, maybe it's also because I'm smiling more and everything, but
yeah,
I think it's just that maybe it's like some ingrained level of chivalry. Maybe it's not. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like hyping it up to be. But getting free drinks, getting free food, like, I think that's one aspect that women have more privilege. But I don't, like, any other sense that matters, I don't think women have more privilege than men.
yeah,
So this is like a faint thing that we get privilege in, but like, does it really help?
yeah. And
Momentarily,
obviously, like,
maybe.
the nuance here is like it's not all women, it's like the
Exactly.
prettier women.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
then I
It's a
also have to say,
subsection of women. Exactly.
the
Which,
prettier women
like,
have like,
most of the time, yeah.
yeah, the prettier women have also put in work into themselves, as have the pretty guys or like the handsome guys. Like, there's still
I
work involved to dress well, to go to the
like,
gym, have a decent physique, do your hair, do your makeup for
not just that,
women.
though. It's not just that. Like,
No.
being conventionally pretty does not apply to having whatever clothes or body type or whatever. I don't think that's true.
Mm,
Because I'm not conventionally pretty. And
mm,
I have to put in that work, but I think there are some people who don't have to put in that work, which is like a whole different tangent altogether. But it's it's just weird. I
yeah.
don't think you can attribute it to one of certain qualities or putting in work or not putting in work.
Some people just
I
got it,
think it
bro.
simply depends. Hmm?
Some people just have it, dude. They're just
Yeah,
naturally
that's what
good
I'm
looking.
saying. I think it's just the energy that you bring in.
Yeah, that's fair.
I genuinely think it's the energy more than the appearance as well.
Mm,
Um, because confidence and happiness exudes more welcoming energy.
mm. Here's another opinion. I'm tired of people giving me advice. I am tired of people in real life and people on social media giving me advice and telling me how to live.
Hmm.
Dude, just like there are just so many rules and things a 20-year-old is told these days. Like, oh, you need to get on AI agents, you need to start posting on LinkedIn, oh, dude, content creation. Oh, also, by the way, are you doing High Rocks next month? Oh, by the way, like, why aren't you running? And also, by the way, like, are you dating? Oh, by the way, are you also making $10,000 a month? And if not, here's what I'm
Here
doing,
we
and here's what
go.
you need to do as well. If not, you are a failure if you don't have a Lamborghini at the age of 23. Bro, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
we're all in the blender, bro, and like life is hard, okay? And like I'm tired of seeing all of these guys telling me what to do, how to be,
Mhm.
and how to feel. I'm just sick
Yeah.
of it. That's why I'm trying to actively change my algorithm on Instagram and YouTube. I'm like watching gardening videos on YouTube, dude. That's my algorithm. I'm into gardening. That's the kind of life I want. I don't want your toxic hustle culture advice. I'm tired of it.
Well said. Touche, honestly. Because
Yeah.
I think, and this is a popular thing that's going on around social media as well, is I've felt more peer pressure to eat protein and start running as an adult than I did to take drugs when I was a teenager. And it is
No,
true.
it's true.
Immediately as I open my Instagram feed, like, and I think definitely what you brought up about your algorithm and wanting to change that, fair. But I think it's so interesting that as soon as you open Instagram, you're just constantly flooded with here's what
Hmm.
you shouldn't do, here's what you should do, and it is exhausting,
Yeah.
especially because it's first of all, you're already consuming more than you're creating, and I know I can say that for myself. And all of these words just constantly sit in your head
Mm.
and things that you're doing, things that you're not doing, and you constantly find yourself doubting what you're doing and what you're not doing,
Yeah.
and making plans again and again based off of the opinions of someone else who you will never know.
Yeah.
And it's tiring to
And
constantly
even
just go
though,
through that rigmarole.
exactly, and even though you know it's not good for you, it still gets to your head. And then,
Yep.
like you said, you make plans and you make them again, and then you doubt yourself, and then the cycle continues. And you just kind of feel stuck because of all this
Yes.
advice that is being thrown at you on Instagram.
And it's also so interesting that so many of these people who are giving you this advice are self-proclaimed experts in certain fields, as they claim.
Hmm.
And it's so interesting because people can only talk from the experience that they've had.
Hmm.
And a lot of the times you're not having the same experience as the person on the other side of the screen. And sometimes they even haven't had the experience that they're talking about.
And they're just faking it. They're fully
Exactly,
just
because the
faking it.
other thing, okay, this like blends in into the opinion that I wanted to talk about. It's the fact that on social media, there are coaches who are training people to copy the content of other people to get ahead.
Yep.
And my opinion is, where did the opinions go?
Yeah.
Like you're just word for word copying someone else's content because it did well, and then you just put it out there and that's it, and then someone is listening to that, even if you've not had that experience, even if you've just copied it straight off of someone else is listening to that, doubting their entire life.
I hear you, and I think it's so frustrating. So I've been creating content on Instagram
Yes.
for since 2023 November, before personal branding was a thing. I started creating content purely out of self-expression, and I did that for about 6, 7 months before somebody told me like, oh, you should start a personal brand. And then I realized I had created a personal brand, but all I was doing was just expressing myself. But now every like Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to start a personal brand, and I understand, right? Like distribution is everything. If you're not on content, or if you're not on the content game, you're kind of invisible and low-key irrelevant, which is like another conversation to
Which
have.
is messed up in itself as well.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because people judge you based on the number of followers you have, or the number of views you pull, or the number of likes you get on your
And you
reel.
judge yourself based off of those things as well.
More than other people, you judge yourself, which is
Exactly.
worse.
Worse.
But now there's like a lack of originality. And I understand why if a creator wants to copy another creator because they were inspired by their reel and they want to send that same message to their audience, and I can respect that. I understand that. But at the same time, I want to know you, dude. I want to know what
Hmm.
you stand for. What are your
Yes.
thoughts? What are your opinions? And that's severely lacking. I agree with you.
Yeah. And I think because And it's not just content creation that leads to this. I think it's also content consumption that leads to it even at a higher rate. Is
Yeah.
because you watch one reel that has an opinion on something, even if that opinion is shared by a different person. And by that I mean if they've even copied it or if it's an original opinion, it doesn't matter. It's now affected your opinion. So how do you know if that opinion is yours or someone else's? How do you know if you're just completely biased based off of this one piece of content that you've watched in an ocean, in the whole intergalactic spectrum of content that is floating out there? How do you know what is your opinion? And I think that comes from just sitting with yourself without any noise from the outside world. And it's hard to do that, obviously, because you're not just going to go completely off the grid unless you want to. And how are you to stop and discern what is for you and what isn't? How I think like comprehension has gone out the window. Like
Hmm.
for a few years now, but I think people take everything so literally. There
Yeah.
is like we've lost the art of discernment and the art of nuance.
Yeah. And I think everyone's guilty of this. I
Yeah.
definitely know I
I
am,
am.
'cause I'll come to you and I'll be like,
Yes.
dude, like I need to go do this or do that. And you're just like,
No,
wait,
you
where
come
is
up
this
with a
coming
finalistic
from?
opinion. You're like, I
Yeah.
hate this. And I'm like, so let's slow ourselves down just a
Yeah.
little bit.
So what did you watch? What did you
Yeah.
consume?
No, that's literally it. The
Yeah.
3.5 years that we've been together, you've come up to me with so many takes, and I'm like seasoned. I know exactly what to say. I know exactly the questions to ask you. Now I know I have to start with, so what's the video you watched? What's the piece of
Yeah.
content you read?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
concerning because I do get very finalistic. And you know how we also watch something controversial and we watch it for 5 to 10 seconds, we might like it or not, press double tap on Instagram and then immediately comment section. We're
Yes.
looking at what other people are
Yes.
saying, and based
Yeah.
on that, whether it's positive or negative, we're forming an opinion. Every
Mm.
single person does this. That's why a
Yeah.
comment section even exists, right?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting watching other people watch content and seeing when they go to the comment section and how much they scroll. And it's also interesting
Oh,
observing yourself and seeing which opinion are you picking up on. Are you going and looking at the comment that is not liked by the author because it's a hate comment, and then are you reading that comment, or
okay.
are you
I'm
reading
not
the
this
positive
deep in
comment,
this. That's insane.
or are you reading the positive comments?
Oh,
This
huh.
happens. I'm telling you, this happens. Because why do hate comments get so many likes, and why are they at the top of the feed? Because they've
Okay,
been
which
most
is so
engaged with.
interesting. Let me cut in right here
Go
because
for it.
anytime I open a reel and I open the comment section, I always see the good comments.
Hmm.
So what's happening there?
That's a good thing. You're focusing on the positivity. But I've
So do
caught
you think
myself.
Instagram is doing this?
So I think the reason sometimes the most most negative comment is on the top is also because it's the most liked comment and the most
Hmm.
replied to comment. So Instagram naturally, like their algorithm is filtered in such a way that the most engaged with comment is at the top,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's why we also pay attention to the negativity, even though there's
Yes.
one negative comment for 15 positive
Yes.
comments.
Yes.
And
And can you talk about how that impacted you as a content creator? Because you've been in this game for a little bit and you've
yeah,
had your run-ins with hate
hate
comments
comments,
and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
I wonder how other people would perceive my content when it was controversial and they saw hate comment before a positive comment, and then they base their opinion based on that.
Yeah.
For me personally, I would try to focus on the positive comments and I would read the positive comments more often than I would read the negative comments, because then I would feel like, okay, there's more positive comments, and there actually
Yeah.
were more positive comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the hate comments just give you a thicker skin, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I think it also reinforces the aspect of the fact that not everyone needs to have an opinion on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Because hate comments sometimes are just so out of left field, not even related to what the content is. And that's what I mean about losing the art of discernment, comprehension, and nuance, is that people cannot take things with a grain of salt anymore. Like, apparently, salt is too expensive for them or whatever. But, like, what is going on with that? Like, take what you want, leave what you don't. That is what discernment is. Like, if
Yeah.
you have a completely extreme take about something, fair. Like, play devil's advocate and ask a question and keep the conversation going. But to have a finalistic opinion on something where you're not helping by leaving a hate comment. A
Yeah.
question, on the other hand, maybe you can change someone's perspective on that. I just feel like in having so much that goes into your mind, we've just saturated our brains with all of this information.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's really
just let
sad. It's
everyone
really
have an
sad.
opinion. Yeah.
Because I agree, not everybody needs to have an opinion. If you're scrolling YouTube shorts or you're scrolling reels and you see something you don't agree with, why are you taking the time out to comment something that's negative? What's
And
up with that?
hateful.
And
People are
hateful.
mean.
They're so mean. And
Yeah.
you know how I try to deal with that is I haven't received like a hate comment in a while, which is I guess a
Yeah.
good thing. But
Amazing. Touch wood.
yeah, the way I would deal with it if I did get one is I think I would probably naturally feel a bit of anger, like, oh, how could you say that? Then I would turn that anger into pity that, oh, wow, I do feel bad for you that you had to say this to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
And then after that pity has dissolved, I would just be indifferent to it and be like,
Right.
the whole logic of, oh, if it does not affect you in 5 years, it shouldn't affect you for longer than 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
harder to do than, yeah, it's easier to say,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like, in the
Yeah.
moment, you're just like, whoa, what did like, did I say something wrong? Like, what the hell? I'm doubting myself. But I think it's a good framework to have if you do receive hate comments.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think what you said about like how everyone doesn't need to have an opinion, I think it's such an uninteresting thing to try to have an opinion on everything when you're not informed and you don't have any
Oh,
expertise
that's such a good take. Yes, yes, yes.
and
Go
you're
on.
talking to somebody who has clearly built something and has expertise and has done something in the field that you're talking about. You don't need to share your uninformed, ignorant, half-formed opinion. You sound like an idiot. You do.
Yeah.
Because I can just sense how shallow your opinion is. And if you can't like back up your opinion with fact or with real life experience, I've said the word opinion so many times, but your opinion does not hold that much water, at least in my brain. Like I won't take
Right.
you as seriously.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't know. That's just me.
I No, I agree with that. And the reason for that is because you can tell when someone's opinions are copied
Yeah.
and when they are genuine because you can feel the passion with which they're talking about it and you can feel the way they deflect or interact with questions about their opinions.
Hmm.
And I think that's what the whole point of a conversation is. And again, discernment, of course, and the nuance, definitely. But it's also about being okay to say, I don't know. And I
That,
am so grateful to my dad for drilling this in me when I was a kid. He would tell me it's okay to say, I don't know. He would
shout out my
make me
dad.
say, I don't know. Even if you want to have all the answers to certain things, you cannot know everything. And it's
Hmm.
okay to say, I don't know. I think even now, like I'm a coach, I'm a tennis coach at high school, and a lot of the times the kids are going to ask me questions related to tennis, and definitely I'm in the position to be the expert there because I am employed as an expert there. And at the same time, if I don't know something, I will tell them I don't know.
Yeah.
And I hope that they take that away from me being their coach, that it's okay to say I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think even within conversations, I think it's a little bit of peer pressure. Like, hey, all of my friends know so much about all of these different things. They've read these books, they invest in stocks, they listen to this music, they listen to this artist, they listen to this niche indie band. I feel left out and I want to have an opinion on this so that I feel included.
Hmm.
I understand that. I really do. And that's the nuance that with which I approach this situation because like I understand why they might have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think we as conversationalists and as listeners and as people who want to be inclusive to other people need to make it a safe space for people to say, I don't know. And instead of laughing at them for not having watched a movie, we say, we should watch it next week.
Yeah.
I think that's human nature. Like I feel like we could genuinely be building so much more community if we let people say I don't know and actually build them up from that.
I think
That's
that's
my take
something
on that.
I really admire about you is you don't ever put somebody down for not having done something or having done something. You try to include them or create space for
Yes.
them to do that in the future, right? And I think that's so important because wouldn't it be so cool if we said, I don't know, but can you teach me? Or can you tell me
Yes.
more about that? I would be
Stop that
so
giving up.
attracted to that. If somebody said
Yes.
that to me, I'd be like, hell yeah, dude, I want to teach you. Hell yeah. Let's be friends, dude. Come on. Let me show you
Yeah,
what I'm
we're
getting.
best friends now.
Exactly. But nobody does that because everybody wants to be smart or wants to be seen as smart. And
Yes.
it's okay to not be smart about some things.
Dude, you know what? I love that. Absolutely, I love that. And I want to be the first here to say I'm not smart about everything. Like, I
Yeah.
would love to be, and it hurts me sometimes that I don't know a lot of things that I don't know. But that's the way it is, and I would love to learn.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel like the amount of content that you consume from self-proclaimed experts, it just makes you think, why am I not an expert in something?
Right.
But it takes time. Expertise takes time, and I think we've lost that, I don't know, that commitment,
Mm-hmm.
that long-term commitment to something that gives you the expertise.
Yeah.
Because everything needs to be quick, especially with the rise of AI. Like, everything is so much quicker than it used to be.
Right.
Knowledge is served to you on a screen, silver platter, if you will,
Yeah.
and it's so quick. You don't go through the hard work of finding out multiple different things to then discern what you want and
Yeah.
build that expertise. So I think that also makes you feel left behind when you don't have that expertise, because I
That's
feel that way.
such a good point of not sort of like not going down a rabbit hole and then picking and choosing what you need to, let's say for a research paper or an essay,
Yes.
excuse me, because kids these days probably don't go down Wikipedia rabbit holes and
Well, Wikipedia is
learn.
not a good source anyway.
Okay, whatever, but it's still a good source for learning like random facts, and then you can obviously go and fact check. But
Yeah.
and it's so fun. Like I still do it. I'll go on like a random sports stars page and I'll be like, wait, so what were you doing when you were 18 years old and which league were you playing in? How many awards have you won? I like knowing these random facts.
Yes.
But kids these days are probably not doing that because their research is so much more streamlined because of AI, AI mode, all of these different technologies that exist.
Yeah, definitely. Even when you search something up on Google, you're immediately hit with the AI answer.
Yeah,
So you don't even get the option to go to different, because immediately you have the answer and you move on with your day. And that's what AI is doing, is it saves you time on a lot of things, definitely, but then you've lost the curiosity.
yeah. I want to create a whole separate episode on how AI is affecting us, especially our
Yes.
ability to critically think and write. So I want to switch gears here and share
Yes.
another opinion that I have. So when I first started creating content, I was quite upset that my friends were not supporting me in the way I wanted to. And I felt very misunderstood and unseen. And I've battled that a lot over the years, but I came across a quote the other day and it really stuck with me, and it said something along the lines of people can only meet you as deeply as they have met themselves.
Ooh.
So the other day, actually just yesterday, I met somebody from my high school and I told him that it is my mission in life to help people become fitter and healthier and inspire them to take charge for their health. And that's why I started my run club or continued with my run club in Dubai. And also that's why I'm building my online fitness coaching business. But I could see a sense of what is this guy saying in his eyes and him sort of laughing at me. And at first I that irked me a little bit. But then I
Right.
reminded myself of this quote. How can he ever understand my mission and how deeply I think about what I do and how I want my life to look like when he's never thought about it himself?
Right.
And most people don't actually think about where they want their life to go. And it's a sad truth because they sort of
Yeah.
just accept whatever is being given to them by society or by their university or by their family. Because I get it, like life is hard and you would rather have somebody else make choices for you sometimes. But as a
Yeah.
result of that, you don't actually actively shape your life. You don't actually actively steer the sails of your boat, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think this quote really sort of calms me down. And this quote reminds me that, dude, not everybody's actually thinking at the depth that you are thinking at. And that
Yeah.
is why you feel misunderstood because they haven't thought about it like this. And you have.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that can also be a very isolating experience in general as well.
It is pretty isolating, dude, especially when you're trying to build something, you're trying to be an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, you're trying to take
yeah,
the unconventional route.
yeah.
Most people are not doing that. Most people are
I,
comfortable
yeah,
taking the conventional route. But that's another thing I want to talk about is like the conventional route is dead. The traditional career is dead for a lot of people.
right.
You have some thoughts, share, please.
I do. I'm formulating all my thoughts as you speak, so you can continue speaking.
I think a lot of people, let's say young 20-year-olds, okay, 20-year-olds
Hmm.
and people entering their 20s are sold this idea, go to university, get a 4-year degree or 3-year degree. Your degree is going to get you a high paying job. Your high
Hmm.
paying job is going to get you more money. And then you can climb that corporate ladder and you can keep doing that. And then you turn 60 and you turn 65 and you retire and then you sort of live your years out and you die. But I think a lot more people are starting to wake up to that reality, are starting to
Right.
actually think about it and realize that they were actually sold a lie or a truth that is not a truth anymore.
Do you
And
think
we
that's
need to
also
talk about
driven
it
by
more.
fair, fair? Do
Yeah,
you think that's also the waking up to this reality is also accompanied by the fact that the job market is bad and the fact that
absolutely.
people have the time to think about the fact that, hey, maybe I don't want this job?
Absolutely. I think so, yeah, because you look at LinkedIn or wherever you're finding jobs and then they require this insane amount of experience for
Yes, for an
shitty
entry
pay,
level job, 5 years of experience.
5 years experience for shitty pay, and they have all of these requirements that you need to fulfill. And you're just like, bro, wait, I'm just graduating college. It wasn't supposed to be this way. I thought getting a job was easier than this.
Right.
And because there are so many people competing for that same job, it's so much harder to stand out. And that
And
is
the
why I
fact that
think
there are
people
fake
are,
jobs on there.
and there are also fake jobs because,
I'm like, what is going on?
yeah. And so
And
you're
then people
putting,
are using AI to auto apply,
yeah,
and there's just hundreds and multiple hundreds of people applying for the same job, and things getting filtered out by AI, and it's just so interesting.
and I think that's one of the biggest reasons there's been such a culture shift towards entrepreneurship for younger people and towards
Hmm.
content creation because they're starting to see the opportunities it unlocks. And so it makes sense
Yeah.
why people want to build a personal brand, why they want to build their own business because they feel like they were scammed by the system
Yeah.
that they were put in, that by the system that they didn't sign up for. They were
Yeah.
really scammed. And I
Yeah.
know that's why I'm building a one person based business because I'm like, and this again, okay, there's so much to talk about. I'm so happy that we have all of these opinions because that gives us so much content
Yeah.
material. Uh, but yeah, I just think young people feel cheated and we need to talk about it because it's genuinely affecting our mental health. And I know that's something that's been on your mind as well.
Definitely. I also think in terms of content creation and entrepreneurship, obviously both are very hard, but compared to the traditional career, currently there's less friction for both of those things.
Right,
It's not hidden behind a paywall or it's not hidden behind 15 interviews. It's
right.
something that you can just immediately start. And I think obviously not everyone's made for content creation.
Yeah,
Not everyone's comfortable with it, and that is fine. Not everyone should be a content creator. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need electricians, we need architects. Like, we need all of these people, you know?
yeah.
So I also think it sucks that the job market and everything feels like a scam because there are genuinely talented people who need to do those jobs. And at the same time, maybe I'm thinking companies are losing a lot of talent because of the fact that we've lost the human touch of inviting people into certain things. I saw this reel that went like, job market is so bad, I feel like pursuing my dreams.
I saw that too, dude. I saw that too.
I was like,
Oh my
that's so
God.
interesting. And I think it's also like whenever the state of the world is horrible, which is all the time, which I'm realizing as I'm growing up, I'm like, there is never a year where everything's fine.
Mm,
There's always something going on, right?
mm,
But whenever the state of the world is really bad, the artists flourish.
mm.
And I think that's the whole thing with content creation as well, is it's a creative pursuit. And that's when the opinions rise to an all-time high as well.
Hmm.
Is because there's so much happening and it breaks you out of that severed brain that is teaching you to do this and then this and then this and this. And then you're like, actually, maybe let's take the other road.
Hmm. I wanted to talk about what you said, how it seems like the world is bad all the time.
Yeah,
And I think we've talked about this before. I think it's a big symptom of watching a lot of news.
right.
I don't think the two of us do that much anymore. I try to stay away from the news because most news is not meant for me. And there's a quote by Nawal Ravikant that I always remind myself: the media's number one prerogative, or no, media's number one job is to make the world's problems your problems. And because of that, you lose sight on what is actually driving progress in your life because you're worried about what's happening in bloody Australia or in America.
Yeah,
But
no,
another
no
thing I
hate
want
to
to say is that,
Australians and Americans.
yeah, no offense to you guys. Uh, but what I want to say is the world can be very positive if we choose to focus on the positive things that are happening.
Right.
It's like that saying goes, if you want to hate America, watch the news, but if you want to love America, drive across it.
Mm.
It's very true because America is a beautiful country, I think. A lot of beautiful towns. The people are also really nice. So it's very interesting how people's
Right.
opinions are shaped on different countries and different nationalities and different cultures based on the few reels or videos that they've watched. And it's
And
also
it's not
very,
even about the few reels and videos, it's just about the select few people that we get to watch on these reels and on the news and everything. It's definitely the representatives of
hmm
certain countries. But I don't mean when I talk about the state of the world, I'm not talking about what's happening in Australia or what's happening in America or what's happening on a cruise ship in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about the facts,
hmm
about the fact that we were just ending high school and entering college during a global pandemic.
Oh yeah,
I
100%.
think we've genuinely forgotten about that. Those are the things I'm talking about.
Trauma blocked.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So it's not even about, hey, this is what's been going on in the US, this is what's been going on in Dubai and the Middle East. It's
Right.
just about the factual statements that our lives are always in havoc for some reason or the other.
Yeah.
It's just constant upheaval for some reason or the other.
And it plays on your brain.
It
It
does.
it really does. As much as you don't want
Naturally.
to, as much as you don't want to consume the news, somebody will tell you, you'll receive a random WhatsApp message, and you'll be like, bro, I needed to work, and now I'm thinking about this, and now my attention is fragmented, and this sucks.
Yeah. And it's also the general sense of helplessness when all of these things happen.
Right.
And you can't do much more than talk about it, raise awareness about it, think about it, and then move on.
Yeah.
And that's also a very, we're very, what's the word? What's the word for it?
Privileged? Is that what you want to say?
No, yeah, definitely we are.
hmm
But we're
Desensitized?
just so numb to it.
Yeah, right.
We're
Numb to
just
it.
so used to it that like it
Yeah.
just doesn't affect us like that anymore.
No, literally, because uh, there has been missiles being intercepted where I live
Yes.
in Dubai.
And you were hosting your run club. I was like, what's going on?
I'm hosting my run. We're running, the sirens blaring on our phones. We're having a good time. And it's just hilarious, the world we live in. It's
That's what I'm saying. It's
crazy.
such a crazy world that we live in that,
Okay, it's been
gosh.
40 or almost 41 minutes. Let's end on a slightly more positive opinion.
Yes.
What positive opinions do we have?
Okay, I think we need to address the irony of the fact that we talk about the fact that not everyone needs to have an opinion, and then here we are sharing our opinions, even though no one asked.
What are we if not a bunch of hypocrites? Okay, guys, my camera switched, so this is my new view, but Mahika was sharing an opinion, so please go on.
I think the reason that we're doing this is because these are our conversations. We're just talking about anything and everything, and we would love to invite anyone into this conversation. And that's what
Yeah.
this podcast is about having conversations. Of course, we're sharing opinions, and as you've seen throughout this episode, we agree with some things, we disagree with some things, we find the nuance in some things, and then we try to come up to a different level of thinking from where we were or towards where we want to be. And that's what this is about. So definitely take the point about us having opinions also with a grain of salt, because of the fact that we might have certain opinions that may not agree with you. And that is fine. And if you don't know something about something, that is fine too. And if we don't know something about a certain topic, that is fine too. The whole point of this podcast is to just keep conversations open and to attack things with empathy. Attack, I say. To approach things with empathy and to approach things with discernment and just have an open mind on things. That's what I want.
100%. We don't necessarily want to be right. We want to explore through conversations and we want to find what is the truth. And that sometimes means being challenged
Yes.
and being frustrated because you thought something was right and you were proven wrong. And that's okay because the sign of an intelligent person is their ability to change their minds as quickly as new information is presented to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we hope to be intelligent people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
On that note,
that's a really positive note to end on. That's what I was gonna say.
thank you so much for listening to the first episode of Quarter Life Confessions. This has been Ansh, one of your hosts.
And Mahika,
We'll see you in episode 2.
see you next time.